here's my action, and we have tested it, and we've come to the conclusion that this title was not aligned correctly. So we either miss a step or we need to add another step. So here's my action, and here are all the steps that I created, that I've recorded for my action. And I'm gonna find where that text layer was created. And the easy way to find text layers, look for something that says make text layer, open it up, and find the one. Here it is, title goes here. Okay, so this is the step that we created. And obviously, if you look at the one before, which was the one with my name and my title, I have a transform current layer that moved it from one side to the place that I have it right now. So what we want to do is we want to go to the make text layer for this one right here. Title goes here, and then we want to add the step of aligning it to the center of an image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that layer. Title goes here. I'm going to hit record, and I'm going to go to edit, free transform, and I'm going to move that layer using the snap alignment and the smart guys right here to align it to the page and to the other two text layers. And again, those are found under the view menu, show smart guides. All right, those were those little purple lines that I'm going to hit stop. And again, I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save it. And I'm going to give this another try. I'm going to select the action. I'm going to hit play. And as you can see, we have fixed our alignment by going to all the steps, finding where that layer of text was created, and then selecting it, recording the correction, stopping the record, and then testing our action again. So let's say, for example, we're very satisfied with what we got. However, I want to create, let's say, another similar action that gives me the same page, but in this case, I'm going to create a gray gradation in the background to make my characters pop. So what we can do is we can duplicate this action right here by dragging it to the create new action button. And we can rename it by double clicking on this name right here. And I'm going to go and type portfolio page dash gray BG, and this action is going to perform exactly the same thing as this page right here, but what we're going to do is we're going to add the gradient. I can add the gradient at any stage of my action, but to avoid issues, I highly recommend that you add extra steps at the very beginning or at the very end. In this case, we're going to do it at the very end. So I'm going to select my very last step, and I'm going to take advantage of my channel, of the channel that we created early on. So again, I'm going to go to my last step. I'm going to hit record. Now we're going to hold the command key, control key on a PC, and we're going to click on the thumbnail for the content selection, and it will give us this selection right here. Let me go back to my actions so I can see what I'm doing. Then right here, I'm going to use the gradient tool, and I'm going to search for the perfect gradient. So let's say that this is what we want. I'm going to hit hue and saturation. I'm going to desaturate this. If it needs to be darker, I can darken it, or if it needs to be lighter, I can lighten it. So I'm going to go for something like this right here. I can add all sorts of adjustments. So for example, if I hit level, I can bring in my midtones like such. Or if I want to pick a specific file, I can do the same thing that I did for our 1-inch bottom strip. Once I'm satisfied with what I got, I'm going to hit stop. And again, we always test our actions to make sure that we did not create any mistakes. I'm going to close this file. I'm going to select done save. I'm going to go to the very top of my action, and I'm going to hit play. And as you can see, everything looks pretty good. I'm going to add one more step at the very end, which is going to be deselect. So again, I'm going to select my last step. I'm going to hit record. I'm going to go to select, deselect. Again, I'm going to close this, don't save, and I'm going to test that action again by selecting the action and hitting play. And there you have it. Out of one action, we've created a secondary action, one where it will give us a portfolio page with a white background, and the other one which will generate the same page but with a gray background. And again, as you can see, you can always add additional steps. You don't have to do them the same day. You can always come back days or even years later, and you can add to your action. So for example, let's say that I want to add a vignetting effect to my page. So it will be like a darkened frame around this area right here. So I'm going to go to my very last step, which is merge layers, and I'm going to start recording. Again, I'm going to utilize my content selection alpha channel. I'm going to hold Command and Control on a PC, and I'm going to click on the thumbnail to convert this channel into a selection. I'm going to go back to actions because I like to see the recording process. And I'm going to duplicate this content right here by going to Layer, New, via Copy. Now I'm going to select the area of my vignetting with the rectangular marquee tool. So I'm going to go for something like this. And I'm going to feather this selection by going to Select, Modify, Feather. And I'm going to go for 300. This feathering right here is very soft. I'm going to do a Select Inverse because I want to have this area as my selection. And I'm going to go again back to Layer, New, via Copy. And now I'm going to select layer 2, which is the copy, and I'm going to convert that layers mode to multiply. And here's a nice vignetting. What I may do, I may turn the whole layer to black by going to my hue and saturation and moving my lightness to the left. So it will convert whatever the gradation was to pure black. And now I can go back to hue and saturation and give it more of a general gray. And there it is. I think the bottom could be tweaked, so I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, and I'm going to go to the Warp, and I'm going to bring this bottom part right here, and I'm going to push this side a little bit outwards. I think those corners are a little bit too dark, and once I'm happy with my vignetting, I'm going to validate my transformation. I'm going to use the shape of layer 1, holding the command key Control on a PC and clicking on the layer 1 thumbnail. I'm going to go to Select Inverse, and I'm going to go to the layer with the vignette, Edit Clear, and there it is. My last step will be to select all 3 layers that form the background and go into the Layers palette and go to Merge Layers. I'm going to hit Stop. And I'm going to test our action. And there it is. So again, create an action, check your action, modify your action if you find any mistakes or if you have any steps that you don't want. And if you want to replicate an action and add more steps to it, duplicate that action, rename the action, and add your additional steps. And this is how we create actions in Photoshop.